Good evening from the Kassam Stadium. We'll make it quick tonight. Hull City beaten by a goal to nil. And I guess the story is, of course, another defeat for Hull City. Another game where they had copious amounts of chances, couldn't take any of them, and were punished royally in the second half. And then for much of the second half, the goal went in 10 minutes after half-time. And for much of the second half, the 900 or so away fans just sat in that stand over there, were chanting against the manager. Much of it I can't repeat. You can probably imagine the sort of chants, questions about Walter Ball. Tim Walter, your football is something else. Are we loud enough for you? The list goes on, and then there was the classic, you're getting sacked in the morning. I guess that sums up the strength of feeling now against manager Tim Walter. Another game where Hull City haven't won, another game where Hull City have not kept a clean sheet, and another game where Hull City have conceded a goal. In 13 games now, that's they've kept one clean sheet, and City are falling down the table. It should have been very different, in fairness. It should have been so much different. First half, they played well. I'm not going to go as far as to say they were exceptional, but they were much the better side. Oxford looked what they were, a team low on confidence, not really sure how to go about playing against City in this newfangled style that we're seeing here. They had plenty of chances. Simons crashed one over, Casey Palmer crashed one over, both created by the excellent, I thought, Mohamed Baloumi. A lovely move, Ryan Giles back in the side tonight. Lovely move down the left-hand side with Abdouche, who was also back in the side tonight, created a lovely move and a really good chance into the penalty area, but Abdouche shot straight at the goalkeeper. You kind of felt maybe it was going to be one of those nights. Baloumi then rattled the post with a lovely effort. We were right behind it here in the press box. It looked like it was going to be angling in the far corner. It hit the post and came out. And you always worried, you always kind of in the back of your mind that if they don't take one of these chances, they will get punished. Oxford had a good chance, that their first shot on target just before half-time, a good header saved by Ivor Pandor. City started the second half well enough, but a break down the left-hand side, crossing, lad at the back post, good finish, prodded in past the goalkeeper, and that was 1-0 10 minutes into the second half, and they huffed and they puffed, but in truth, did they really look like getting back into the game? Chris Beddier came off the bench, poked one wide, that was probably as good as it got. Giles pushed one wide as well, but it was an all too familiar tale for City, really, that they had the chances in the first half, but I think of 10 or 12 shots on goal, they hit the target with just two efforts, and obviously Baloumi hit the post before coming off injured. No word yet on how he is. So that's the story of the game. A 1-0 defeat, another game where they've played well in patches, they've created moments but not been able to take them, and they've been punished at the other end. No clean sheet again, as I say, just one so far this season, and as I say, the story of the game, particularly in the second half, was the fan reaction. I always think in football that when the home fans turn on a manager, that's a difficult situation, but it can be retrieved. When your away fans who travel up and down the country, all over the shop, here on a 400-mile round trip on a Tuesday night to Oxford, early November, when the away fans go, that is untenable, and it was the strength of that response in the second half. The manager at full time didn't go across to applaud the fans. He went as far as the halfway line to shake hands with the referee, and then headed off straight down the tunnel. He was very affable in his post-match. When I interviewed him just down on the pitch, he was very defiant. We need time, we need to stick together. I understand their frustration. He did say that pressure in football is nothing like pressure in life, but it's hard to get away from the fact that when the fans go like they've gone, and you get it, you absolutely get it, because everybody's frustrated. The fans pay an awful lot of money, they travel up and down the country, and they're not seeing their team win. They're seeing their team regress, and their team has regressed from where they were last year. And yes, it was inevitable, a change in manager. Whether Tim Walter gets to West Brom on Sunday, it's hard to say. I would be surprised if a change wasn't made before then, because from an owner's point of view, how does he deal with it? He's got a group of players there that are underachieving, that have got quality but aren't able to find it, and the fans, when you can't afford to have the fans reacting like that. And his comments at the weekend have struck a nerve. And as I say, the response in that second half after the first goal was telling, and the fact that Tim Walter was subjected to such stern criticism from those supporters that have made the journey down here tonight. He didn't applaud them. The players did. I can't criticise the players. I think they're giving absolutely everything. It's not a case of, sometimes when things aren't going well, you're not fit to wear the shirt. There's nothing like that. They're giving absolutely everything to the players. It's just not working at the minute. And football is a funny game, isn't it? Because had one of those chances gone in that first half, they very, very well go on and win the football match. But alas, that is how football works. Football is made up of fine margins. If Balloumi's shot hits the post and goes in, they go 1-0 up and may well go on and win the game. It doesn't. They don't take their chances, and in the end, they concede a really soft goal and get beat. And that is now another game against a newly promoted team where you had Derby, they should have won that game, they drew. Portsmouth, we know what happened, they drew. Oxford here tonight, beaten. They haven't won a game this side of the international break. And they've got West Brom to come on Sunday, and it's a difficult ask to claim they're going to beat a team managed by Carlos Corberán, funny enough, who was interviewed for the job at Hull City a couple of years ago when he was out of work. So, look, that's probably it from here at the Kassam Stadium, because I know they want to close up the stadium and get everybody out of here. So it's a short and sweet one tonight. We will have an episode of the 1904 Club podcast in the morning, looking back on this game. It was pre-planned. It's not a reaction to this game. We had scheduled it in. There will be, I guess, rumours. Errol Bullott is something I haven't heard. I don't know where that's come from. I think if a change was made, it would likely be Andy Dawson in caretaker charge for a period of time. But we'll have to wait and see. It would not surprise me if it, as I said before, if something did happen between now and Sunday, because when the pressure, when the fan reaction is that strong, it's very, very difficult to come back from. And I would be concerned about what the reaction would be on Sunday, given what we've seen Saturday and again tonight. So look, it's one of those, isn't it? It's unfortunate for City. They, as I say, I thought they played well in the first half, didn't get the goal, lost their way, and it's another game where we're saying the same things, and the manager is saying the same things, and I just think it's really difficult now to see how this turns itself round, and Tim Walter stays as the manager of Hull City for any longer than a few days. But as I say, we'll have to wait and see. Just quickly, one final thing. Oscar Zambrano, there was no comment made by the manager on him. Obviously, if you've not heard the news, he's been given a 16-month ban for breaching doping regulations. We all knew about the story when he signed from Quito in Ecuador. Well, it's been confirmed by that league and CONMEBOL, the authorities out in South America, that he is banned for 16 months. He and his team, his legal team, will appeal that to CAS, the Arbitration for Sport, in the hope of getting the ban either struck off or reduced. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out in the meantime. But suffice to say that Oscar Zambrano will not be playing for Hull City in the short to medium term. However, as I understand it, he will remain at Hull City. Hull City will, as under the terms of his loan agreement, he will remain at Hull City. He will remain on the payroll. He just won't be able to play. So that will free up a space in January, because at the minute their squad is maxed out. They aren't able to, as it stands, sign anybody in January because of they filled the EFL squad allocation. But obviously now, with Liam Miller out for the season with his ACL injury and Zambrano suspended, that does free up at least 2 places in the squad for January. Who will be the manager in January? Well, that's a question that I'm sure we'll get answers to in the next few days. As I say, that's it here from a very, very cold now Kassam Stadium. Keep an eye out for the 1904 Club podcast coming out tomorrow. Get in touch with us at the 1904 Club on Twitter if you want to have your say. It'll be me, Burnsy, possibly Fletch, and George Elek from the Not the Top 20 podcast. Funny enough, an Oxford United fan. That's it. If you've been here at the Kassam Stadium, I keep wanting to say the MKM Stadium.